I certainly think it is. I think the markets tend to be looking for any excuse to believe that the Fed is going to stop raising rates or pivot in some sense, and it's just not ready to yet. The economy is still pretty strong, as Jay made it clear today, and inflation has not begun to fall. And so I think people were reading in to the statement, at least some of the financial markets seem to be reading into the statement what they wanted to see as opposed to what the Fed was saying. And Jay clarified that quite clearly.
So what do you think restrictive will end up being? One of the questions he was asked was if he thinks that they have to get the funds rate above their inflation rate, their key inflation gauge, in order to say it's truly restrictive policy, restrictive enough to bring down inflation. How is that going to work out in 2023?
Well, I think that they, as Jay said, they have a ways to go. If you look across at least the Treasury yield curve, for almost any duration you pick, inflation is higher than the yields. So we have negative interest rates still, and that is in no way one would consider a restrictive policy. So I think that, personally, I think we are likely to see rates somewhere between 5 and 6% before this is over, and maybe even higher. It depends on what inflation does over the coming months and quarters, how high they have to go. But they know they can't just stop because it won't work. Historical experience teaches us that. So they don't have much choice if they really want to commit to lowering inflation.
There's so much pressure for him to pause, or at least, give that indication of pause now. I think that's what really was so groundbreaking in a way from the remarks that we heard overnight. But how do you deal with the labour market? Has just the incredible magnitude of that strength of the labour market surprised you?
Well, yes and no. I think it's remained strong. It's not surprising given both the effects of the pandemic and the stimulus to aggregate demand that the Fed and fiscal policy has provided to the economy. So the labor market remains very strong. Really no signs of slowing down. There may be some slowdown yet to come, but it certainly hasn't arrived as of yet. And I think the Fed realizes that, but it also realizes the reality that slowdown may come, and that's when their task is really going to be difficult. It's when that slowdown comes, we'll find out whether the Fed is as committed to restoring price stability as its language for the last 2 months has indicated. And there'll be a lot of
there's also the acknowledgement.